later on the world news, Permanent Secretary warns principals of schools across River State against extortion sharp practices during external examinations. First assessment of MBAs to begin end of January. Plus, shun enticement against efforts of your profession, NDLEA boss tells officers. Care about River State and her peace? Let's build and take her to greater heights. It is a task we must accomplish. You can watch Rstv News live on YouTube at Rstv online and Facebook at Rstv CH22 online, and subscribe and click the notification bell for updates on our live feeds. Here is welcoming you to the world news at this hour. My name is Abubel Barapaka. Principals of secondary schools in Rivers State have been charged to adhere strictly to the guidelines and rules stipulated by the Rivers State Ministry of Education on the registration and conduct of external examinations. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mrs. Iberi Denise Emineke, gave the charge during a meeting with them at Government Girls Secondary School, Rumokuta, in Port Harcourt. Justice Ihunwo was there for Rstv News.
The meeting with principals was in preparation for the upcoming external examinations in the schools. Mrs. Denise Emenike noted that government spends so much money to sponsor WAEC and NECO examinations. As such, no principal should sabotage the efforts and goodwill of government towards the students.
There shouldn't be any form of extortion from the students for this registration. Of course, you know that the government is paying. This registration is free for all eligible candidates. There should be no reason why any parent will come to complain that the ward or the child is being taxed for anything at all. Every part of the examination will be taken care of by the River State government.
The Permanent Secretary said the ministry will not tolerate a situation where eligible students will be shortchanged for external candidates, noting that staff of the ministry have done head count of eligible candidates for the exams and warned the principals against involvement in any sharp practices that could bring them to disrepute. She pointed out that the ministry and the examination council have established an internal mechanism to checkmate such sharp practices and assured that defaulters would not go unpunished.
I want to say that we're here to perfect what we have been doing all this while, and that will only happen if you cooperate with us adequately. If at the end of the day you think the figures you're getting is not in consonance with what you have real time, it's a ministry, we're open. You go to exams and records and you tell them why you have figures different from what we're giving to you.
The President, River State Chapter of All Nigerian Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools, ANCAPS, Venerable Innocent Umesi, assured the Permanent Secretary that principals have learned their lessons from the past and pledged to adhere to approved headcounts. Justice Ihunwo, Rstv News.
Report, the Rivers representative on the board of the Niger Delta Development Commission, popularly called NDDC, Chief Tony Okocha, has reiterated the commitment of the board to change the negative narratives of the commission. He stated this at the handover of relief materials to flood victims in parts of River State. Again, Justice Ihunwo has more.
Chief Okocha, who represented the managing director of the commission, San Oboku, said the negative trajectory of making the commission a conduit pipe of siphoning fund will no longer be obtainable in the board, as it is determined to make a difference. According to him, with the caliber of persons in the board, the people will continue to feel the impact of the commission in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu. He said the donation was the president's way of empathizing with the people for the loss of their homes and sources of livelihood during the flood and sued for equitable distribution.
It is our resolve that Rivers State and NDDC will have a new leaf as we sit and superintend over your affairs in that ramification. We are there to defend and protect and project the renewed hope agenda as mantra upon which Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ascended to office. And of course, to do that, he has very, very serious concern on the welfare of the citizens of Nigeria. Today is one of those demonstrations of the president's responsiveness to the people of Nigeria. Particularly, the president is to empathize through NDDC with our people who suffer devastations arising from environmental factors.
Director of the Rivers State Office of NDDC, Theophilus Alagwa, said the items would have been distributed last year, but for logistics and bureaucratic reasons, pointing out that the worst impacted areas were selected for the exercise.
We are telling the public, wherever you see that this thing is not properly distributed, cry out. You are your own media man. We are determined to make a difference before. Now we are making a difference. Our logo has changed to making a difference. 8
local government areas, including Gokana, Ahuda East and West, Abua Odua, Oba Ebe Mandoni, Asari Toro, Tai and Andoni, benefited from the donation. Each local government got 3 trucks comprising 47 food and household items. Responding on behalf of the benefiting local governments, the chairman of Ahuda West, Hope Ikriko, thanked the commission for the gesture and promised equitable distribution of the items. Justice Inhuo, Rstv News.
We got the report that no fewer than 140 officials will track and assess the performance of federal ministries, departments and agencies ahead of the first assessment exercise at the end of this month. The officials had joined the 3rd technical retreat for delivery desk officers of federal ministries on the implementation of presidential priorities and ministerial deliverables in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, which began on Wednesday. A senior official of the Central Delivery Coordination Unit, headed by the Special Advisor to the President on Policy Coordination, Mrs. Hadiza Bala Usman, revealed that the officers who would conduct the assessments were drawn from 35 federal government ministries, departments and agencies. At the retreat, Bala Usman echoed President Bola Tinubu's words and warned that her principal would sack ministers who failed to perform their duties, and noted that Tinubu is poised to deliver on his promise of making life better and easier for Nigerians. Calling for the commitment of delivery officers and directors of planning in the ministries, Bala Usman said non-performing ministers would be dropped. The House of Representatives Special Committee on Oil Theft has promised to collaborate with the Nigerian Armed Forces and other security organizations in the country to tackle the scourge of crude oil theft. Chairman of the committee, Alhassan Ado Doguwa, made the promise when he led other members on a visit to the Chief of Defense Staff. Doguwa said the committee is proud of some of the achievements recorded in recent times by the military and other security organizations in securing government facilities and uncovering several facilities used in depriving the country of its crude oil. He recalled that the Chief of Defense Staff and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, recently inspected an illegal crude oil vessel loaded with thousands of metric tons of crude oil that was intercepted by Tantita Security Services, a private security firm. He also promised that the House would continuously subject the Petroleum Industry Act to further legislative scrutiny and amendments to provide for an efficient enabling environment for effective security operations. According to him, this will give the novel legislation the impetus to assist President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration with the much-needed support to turn around the economy and through the oil and gas sector. The chairman also reiterated the resolve of the House to continue to formulate legislations to improve the socio-economic well-being of the oil-producing communities, but advised that leaders of these communities must warn their wards to desist from sabotaging the economic potential of the country in their areas. Responding, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, while appreciating the commitment of the House of Representatives to support the military in its efforts to secure Nigeria's crude oil, assured that the military on its part will double its efforts. Again, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has admitted that the airstrike attack on Rukubi community in Doma local government area of Nasarawa State, which killed more than 40 innocent civilians in early 2023, was in error. Speaking during a visit to the Governor Abdullahi Sule at the Government House, Lafia, the Air Marshal said the airstrike was accidental, appealing to the Nasarawa State government to forgive the force for the development. He said the Nigeria Air Force acted on intelligence report to the effect that some terrorists were sighted on motorcycles in a location around Rukubi community, but the operation turned out to be a disaster. He said it was urgent to reach out to families of those affected by the strike to calm nerves and bring the matter to a close. He promised to collaborate with the state government in tackling the insecurity in the state. Recall that more than 40 innocent civilians were killed through airstrikes in January of 2023. Now, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, has urged men and officers of the agency to shun any enticement that conflicts with the ethics of their profession as anti-narcotic operatives. Marwa gave the charge in Jos, the Plateau State capital, during the graduation of members of the Strike Force Elite Corps in the agency. The agency boss appealed to the officers to embrace the discipline that had been instilled in them during their training and ensure they were incorruptible in the discharge of their duties as anti-narcotics officers. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Oladele Alake, has called on manufacturers of mine explosives to strengthen the security and logistics of their operations, aiming to fight alleged leakages from their factories. During an emergency meeting with explosives manufacturers in Abuja, Alake expressed concern about the perceived role of manufacturers in facilitating unauthorized access to explosives and their indiscriminate storage across the country, leading to public outcry. Alake emphasized that the government is currently reassessing the system for tracking the movement of explosives from manufacturers to end users. He urged manufacturers to conduct internal investigations and identify any employee involved in illicit sale or manufacturing of explosives. The meeting, attended by representatives from licensed manufacturers, is aimed at addressing these critical issues. Do you love and care about River State and her peace? Let's build and take her to greater heights, because it is a task we must accomplish. You can watch Rstv News live on YouTube at Rstv Online and on Facebook at Rstv CH22 Online. And then subscribe and click the notification bell for updates on our live feeds. Just after the break, U.S. jury approves $83.3 million penalty against Donald Trump for defaming columnist E. Jean Carroll. And in sports, Super Eagles of Nigeria promised tough time for Cameroon in first round 16 outing tonight. We'll bring you details of these and others on the flip side if you keep watching the news.
The management and staff of River State Television felicitate with His Excellency Sir Siminalayi Fubara on his well-deserved victory at the Supreme Court. Your Excellency, the people of River State have spoken. The Supreme Court has affirmed the sky is indeed your limit in your quest to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people of River State. Long live Your Excellency. Long live River State. This is signed by the management, River State Television.
Congratulations, he has done it for you. This is Rstv World News. We bring you world-class news, accurate, first-hand, entertaining, balanced analysis. Rstv, Channel 22 Port Harcourt.
For more news. The United Kingdom has become the latest country to pose funding for the UN Agency for Palestinians, also called UNRWA. It comes after the agency announced the sacking of several of its staff over allegations they were involved in the 7 October Hamas attacks. The UK government said it was appalled by the allegations made by Israel. The US, Australia, Italy, and Canada have already suspended additional funding to the UN agency. Created in 1949, the UNRWA provides healthcare, education, and other humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza, the West Bank, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. It employs around 13,000 people outside Gaza. Since Israel began its offensive in response to the 7 October attacks, UNRWA has used its facilities across Gaza to shelter hundreds of thousands of displaced civilians. It says it has ordered an investigation into information supplied by Israel. On Friday, an advisor to the Israeli Prime Minister told the BBC that the 7 October Hamas attacks had involved people who are on their salaries. That's the UNRWA. Mark Regev said there was information showing teachers working in UNRWA schools had openly celebrated the 7 October attacks. He also referred to an Israeli hostage who, on her release, said she had been held in the house of someone who worked for the UNRWA. The allegations prompted reaction from major donors. Now from New York, we've got this report that a New York jury has decided Donald Trump should pay $83.3 million for defaming columnist E. Jean Carroll in 2019 while he was U.S. president. The penalty in the civil trial is made up of $18.3 million for compensatory damages and $65 million in punitive damages. Mr. Trump was found in a previous civil case to have defamed Ms. Carroll and sexually assaulted her in the 1990s. He vowed to appeal the latest ruling, calling the case a witch hunt and the verdict absolutely ridiculous. In the latest trial, the jury was only required to decide how much of compensation, if any, should be awarded to Ms. Carroll. The compensatory damages are meant to account for the harm that the jury found his comments had done to her reputation and emotional well-being. The panel also had to come up with a punitive penalty intended to stop Mr. Trump from continuing to speak out against her. It took the jury of 7 men and 2 women less than 3 hours to reach a verdict on Friday afternoon. Mr. Trump, who looks likely to be the Republican candidate in November's presidential election, also faces 4 criminal charges or cases for a total of 91 felony counts. He is the first president in U.S. history to be charged with a crime but has pleaded not guilty or denied all the charges. And also some entertainment. Detective at the Force Criminal Investigation Department in Lagos have recovered. Detectives rather of the Force Criminal Investigation Department in Lagos have recovered the sum of 50 million naira suspected to have been fraudulently withdrawn from the bank account of one of Nigeria's best actors, John Okafor, popularly known as Mr. Ibu. Mavis Victor of our entertainment's desk has details from there.
According to the spokesperson for the FCID, investigations uncovered a web of deceit where Onyebuchi Daniel Okafor and Jasmine Chioma Okeagu allegedly exploited Mrs. Stella Maris Okafor's trust, gaining unauthorized access to Mr. Ibu's phone and subsequently his banking information, orchestrating fraudulent transfers totaling 55 million naira from the public fundraising account intended for Mr. Ibu's medical expenses to their personal bank accounts. Popular singer and songwriter Timi Dakolo has stated that he is not a gospel artist. He pointed out that his style of music is diverse, emphasizing that he cannot be boxed into a particular genre, adding that he performs at gospel events because he is a Christian. Nigerian superstars Burna Boy and Asake have taken Nigerian music globally as they have been nominated as the Best International Artist of the Year at the 2024 Brit Awards, while Rema was nominated for the Best International Song category.
Last, now everybody go to breakfast.
Mavis Victor, Rstv Entertainment News.
Look at some sports. Nigeria and Cameroon will renew their Africa Cup of Nations rivalry in the round of 16 clash of the ongoing tournament at the Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium on Saturday in Ivory Coast. The Eagles finished second behind Equatorial Guinea in Group A, while Rigobert Song's men relied on a late 3-2 comeback with win against the Gambia to progress behind Senegal in Group C. The Eagles will be aiming to avoid another round of 16 AFCON exit as they were dumped out at this stage by Tunisia in the last edition in Cameroon. And in a bid to reach his first ever AFCON quarterfinal, Jose Poseiro has hinted that he will maintain the 3-4-3 formation that saw his team edge past both AFCON hosts Ivory Coast and Guinea-Bissau by the odd goal. Poseiro is also expected to keep faith with mostly the same players who have got the team to this stage of the competition. Speaking ahead of the game, Poseiro revealed that he would not be changing his team against the indomitable Lions. The Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) Technical Director Austin Ekwaboe, who was on the field captain for the second squad that won the 1994 AFCON in Tunisia, believes that the Eagles can soar over the indomitable Lions if they play with flair and flexibility. Meanwhile, Cameroon's head coach, Rigobert Song, has revealed that he is aware of the threat Nigeria poses to his team's chances of reaching the quarterfinal and was swift to add that a comprehensive strategy is in place to curtail the fearsome attack of the Eagles led by Victor Osimhen. The former Liverpool, West Ham United and Galatasaray player acknowledged Osimhen's prowess, hailing him as a wonderful striker. We're going to see that match at 10 p.m. tonight. Keep a date. Don't change the dial. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has said he is looking forward to a quality showing from the Super Eagles of Nigeria in their Saturday night's encounter with the indomitable Lions of Cameroon in the round of 16 stage of the ongoing 2023 Africa Cup of Nations tournament holding in Ivory Coast. Presidential spokesman Adjurin Gilale disclosed this via a post of X handle on Saturday. As the team prepares for the make-or-mar clash, President Tinubu was presented with a commemorative Nigeria football coin in Paris, France. President Tinubu is currently in France for a private visit until the first week of February. On the last sports report, the Nigeria Premier Football League Board has announced sanctions against any club that fails to participate in the Youth League. Chairman of the NPFL, Benga Elegbele, who gave the warning after a meeting with organizers of the Youth League in Abuja, described the Youth League as the future of Nigerian football. The competition is built to kickstart from 1st February through the 3rd across different centers. I've just been told by my team that I made the mistake of saying the match between Nigeria and Cameroon is for 10 o'clock. Don't mind me. We are hooking on at 9:30, but the match starts at 9 o'clock, so keep a date with us. And on that note, I wrap it up on tonight's edition of the news. Don't forget, if you love and care about River State and her peace, build and take her to greater heights because it is a task you must accomplish. You can watch Rstv News live on YouTube at Rstv Online and Facebook at Rstv CH22 Online. Subscribe and click the notification bell for updates on our live feeds. To close the news now, another reminder of some of the major stories. Principals of secondary schools across River State have been warned to conduct external examinations by adhering strictly to laid down rules and guidelines and desist from extorting students as well as engaging in sharp practices, as anyone found guilty will face severe consequences. About 140 officials will be engaged to track and assess the performance of federal ministries, departments, and agencies at the end of January. They were drawn from 35 ministries, departments, and agencies. We had also informed you that the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, has urged men and officers of the agency to shun enticement from any quarter that conflicts with the ethos of the profession as anti-narcotic operatives. That's it for tonight. Thanks for being a part of it.
Of Africa, oil-rich, teeming with wildlife, and home to diverse peoples and cultures.
Key players to fashion out ways to diversify.
The world is out of balance. Nigeria is one of the great nations of Africa, oil-rich, teeming with wildlife, and home to diverse peoples and cultures.
Key players to fashion out ways to diversify.
We focus, among others, on education, health, agriculture, politics, environmental issues, and remote development.
Rstv,
Traverse the region for development.
I just want the papers, please.
Sir.
Salary don't enter. Yes, so. And money never even reach it. Na salary plenty, oh. No wonder I no gree collect roja from my hand. Shut up, sir. I'm here to bail my younger brother.
Happen. With good laws,
proper funding,
training, and cooperation.
If it happen.
Make you sabi, make una plan well.
Learn correct information about different kind of family planning method. Then they safe and they work well. You and your partner fit plan when una like to born pikin.
Tanda well, make you yarn with your partner. Make them sabi say you support modern family planning.
Oya waka go color be the better one wey go fit your body today. Cause say we get one wey correct for you and your partner.
Sabi the correct thing wey family planning dey do. Follow talk family planning with your partner. Waka